Absolutely. Thanks to Almus. It's probably the eighth, Vijay sir, eighth year of the conference. All right. So, over the last day and a half, yesterday the virtual setup and today a physical event, I think a lot of technical sessions have happened, and rightfully so. I mean, all of you are in the treasury space. I spent about 15 years with Reuters selling to all of you, financial information terminals, risk management solutions, and these technical sessions are important because markets are dynamic. A lot is changing in the markets that you all operate in, from the banker's perspective, from the corporate perspective, and so on and so forth. But what's also needed is a little bit of a human flavor. So the Almus family this year, especially Bijur, Maulik, they've decided to bring in a little different element, and we've introduced a session called Entrepreneur Speak. Now, what we actually do here is not just discover a business, but discover the human behind that business. And I'm really, really happy to welcome the Chairman and Managing Director of Laxmi Organic Industries Limited, Shri Ravi Goenka, who's with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put a round of applause. Raviji. I'll sit here. Sure. So I'm going to talk to Raviji over the next 15-20 minutes, and then let's see if we have some time to get some of you also to ask some questions. Thank you, Raviji, for joining us today. Raviji, my first question really is, when I go to the Laxmi Organic website, your purpose statement says that you're going to be a growth partner for global crop science, life sciences, and pigment customers. What does that really mean for people like us in the room, people who are sitting in front of treasury screens, lots of treasury managers, finance managers? What does this really mean?
Thanks, Vijay. Thank you very much for hosting this. Thanks to Maulik, who's been with us for more than 8 years. We must have been one of his first clients. And our company has definitely benefited from their experience and their services. And it's a very humbling moment for me this is the first time I'm doing a one-on-one talk. And it's very humbling to see such an august gathering and to talk in front of you all, but I'll try to be as candid as I can. So you talked about the business of which we are in. We manufacture intermediates primarily for the pigment industry. So anywhere that you see a yellow color, it could not have been done without using one of our intermediates.
Wow.
You talk about packaging industry. When you eat some wafers from a flex pack packet, that flex pack would require our ingredients.
Okay.
You talk about whenever you have an aspirin, whenever you have a paracetamol, wherever you have some BP medicines, these would require some of the ingredients and some of the intermediates that we manufacture. So this is how we affect the daily lives of everybody.
Wow, specialty chemicals. I did not know that the bag of Lays that I enjoy every evening over a cup of tea, there is something that Laxmi Organic does for that as well. Sagar from RBL, was it RBL Bank? Yes, Sagar from RBL Bank, sir, spoke about value creators and inventors. I have personally been looking at the market recently, and some of these new age companies, and he used the same term, new age companies, they're building platforms, they're bringing communities together and kind of creating some valuations which are a little outside my understanding. Simultaneously, when I meet people like you, you are creating brick and mortar businesses, factories, people, products that we can touch and feel. How do you see that transition, and what are some of your thoughts about that?
Vijay, with you being in Dvara,
yes,
probably your understanding of this space is deeper than mine.
Yes.
And we all have seen the phenomenal explosive growth of these platforms world over. And yes, you're right. We are into the brick and mortar space. We have manufactured actual products. And our belief is that people will need homes to stay. People will need food to eat. People will need medicines to heal. Roti, kapda और मकान तो चाहिए ही ना सब चाहिए. और यही growth के अंदर is where we come in, and where you can order something within 5 minutes at a fraction of the cost that was yesterday.
Yes.
You still will need the actual product to really be delivered to you.
Absolutely.
So we feel that there is definitely a space for brick and mortar.
Yes.
And there is a space for making it efficient to be delivered to the consumer.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there were three things he said: homes to stay, food to eat, and medicines to heal. Yeah, that's very interesting, sir. So Raviji, from an industry perspective, specialty chemicals has been spoken about quite a bit. It's actually getting a lot of interest in the audiences of late. You've had a successful IPO very recently. The global 2019 numbers talk about something like about 720 billion, growing at 5% CAGR. What is your view on the prospect of this industry, not just from a global perspective, but also a little bit of the India flavor?
So, the global chemical industry is actually about $5 trillion.
5 trillion.
And India is just probably a little over 3%, which is about $150 billion.
Okay.
So we are a small part of the entire global demand. And I think that's where the opportunity lies.
Okay.
So I think after our independence, our industry and our people got respectability when the IT boom came in. We became a country that could give back-ending solutions to all the majors in the world. I think today the chemical industry, because of the geopolitical changes that are happening in the world, the China plus one, and everybody wants to have alternate supply chains. The chemical industry is going through such a moment where it is actually a kind of a IT moment where the capex cycle can be a super cycle.
Okay.
If the government can support it, and we have the ecosystem. The chemical industry has been here since 1930s. We have the institutions, we have the engineers, we have the chemists, we have a complete ecosystem, and the best of all, we have the demand. Today we import more than $20 billion worth of intermediates into the country. Why should we? Create state-of-art facilities here, create jobs over here, create self-sufficiency. So I think that the chemical industry in India is at an inflection point. I think it will grow many times over from here, and if we don't touch $1 trillion in the next 10, 12 years, I'll be surprised.
$1 trillion in the next 10, 12 years. Wow. So do you think we are at that IT moment in the chemical trade?
We are, and how to leverage it is for the government and the people to really make it happen. Today, as far as our own company goes, we have so many projects on the table and new projects and new offers coming in. We've never had it in so many years. So I think it's not just us, it's the entire chemical industry who have the capability to execute, will be able to really leverage this opportunity and create world scale and world-class plants.
Wow. So 3% market share for India and the word $1 trillion. Two important points coming out of this one. So given that specialty chemicals is a lot about science, what are your views on innovation, and especially at Laxmi Organic, how are you investing on the innovation side?
So, till 10 years back, we were having just a quality control lab.
A quality control lab.
Which is quality of the raw materials, quality of the finished products. When we went and acquired the specialty chemical business of Clariant, that's when we started our journey in R&D. So we are very young in R&D today, but even so, what we acquired in 2010 was 6 products.
Okay.
And in 10 years' time, we now have 35 products that have been developed in our own R&D lab and which have been commercialized successfully. We are now shifting our lab from a small 7,000 square feet to more than 35,000 square feet in New Bombay.
Okay.
We have more than 90 scientists, engineers, and PhDs working for the company to develop new routes of synthesis, to develop new products, to develop new kind of offerings for the industry.
And this is not just captive to Laxmi Organic. This is for the trade.
This is for the world.
This is for the
you
world.
will have people collaborating with you to develop some product. You will have people collaborating with you to develop the route for the product. So there are many opportunities, and this is open for all the chemical industries in India.
Excellent. Having spoken about innovation, let's talk a little bit about growth. So what are some of your views? You've spoken about the prospect of becoming $1 trillion business, only a 3% market.
No, I didn't talk about us becoming. I'm saying
of course,
India would be $1 trillion.
Yes.
I would be surprised if it doesn't touch $1 trillion in 10 to 12 years' time.
Yeah. But let's talk a little bit about growth. Where do you see the trends moving?
The trends are, it's a writing on the wall that India is having the largest consumption of everything. we still import a large portion of our requirements. We have the best demographic profile in the world. No country has a better demographic profile than India. So the growth is going to continue as people move from rural areas to urban areas, as their lifestyle improves. There's no question that you're seeing a phenomenal growth across the board, across sectors.
Excellent. So speaking about growth, and I had a look at your leadership team on your website, checked out a few names. You seem to have a pretty strong leadership team at the top. But let's shift from business to a little bit more values. What kind of values do you look for in your leadership team, in people in general, sir?
So for me particularly, I would say the first is integrity.
Integrity.
Second would be intelligence. Third would be energy. And if you don't have the first, the other two can kill you. Another important factor for me would be empathy. How does a person feel when somebody is sad, if somebody is in trouble? Is there a human, what is his human emotional quotient?
Human emotional quotient.
So I think these are the few things, and we are lucky, the company is lucky to have a leadership team, what it has. I tell you, the IPO is a very, very arduous and very detailed kind of a process, and I think our team did phenomenally well in making sure it was done in time. And
I think all of us are witness to that. I think the success of the IPO. Let's give a round of applause for that one, please. Raviji, you spoke about empathy, compassion. While I had promised myself the one thing I'm not going to talk about is COVID, I want to take the liberty of asking you a question on that. So we've all had experiences over the past 2 years, and we've dealt with COVID in our own different ways. We've learned a lot of lessons and we've dealt with it. What have been some of your experiences? How did you manage the last 2 years?
I think, when COVID hit all of us early April or end of March, I think the sky had fallen down. We could only see gloom, and we didn't know what was work from home. How can you work from home? But sure enough, our team came into place, and we have been a company that has been a bit ahead of the curve in terms of implementing ERP systems. We were already on SAP HANA, and all of this, and created an environment where from gloom came sunshine. We could address it, we could do everything from home. I remember that for the first 3 months, I used to get up in the morning, wear my pants, shirt, shoes, and sit down on the table and have my coffee, and I was working as if I'm in office, and I just couldn't get myself to understand that we are at home. But I think hats off and kudos to the teams who did that. And I would just like to definitely mention one thing, that while we were in Bombay sitting at home and in our offices in Pune, the people at factory were actually on the ground. They were on the floor, shop floor, working 8 hours, 12 hours, doing overtime because many people were not there, and risking themselves. So while we always appreciate the doctors and the frontline workers who have definitely helped, and they need those kudos, we must not really forget the factory workers who have really relentlessly worked on the shop floors, and they've been as equal frontline workers for us.
Thank you for putting your hands together, because I think this is a very important point he makes, right? I mean, there are certain categories of the society whom we regularly thank, but here is someone talking about factory workers who are working relentlessly while we chose to wear a jacket over a nice looking shirt, sit at the dining table and address work just like we would from the office space. Thank you, Raviji. I think that's a great insight. Raviji, moving on, I wanted to ask you, what inspires you, Raviji? For me, for example, movies. I can watch a lot of movies and get inspired. I can watch Lion King like 100 times and still see it with a different perspective. What about you?
I think you're on the right track, Vijay. Because actually, what I believe is Mukesh Bhai also watches a lot of movies. But what inspires me, I wouldn't say there's any one single person, a single event, or a single incident. I think inspiration comes to me very easily. I get practically inspired every day. So anything that I see, sometimes I learn music, I get inspired by the way my music teacher sings. I get inspired by Maulik to see how he's created such a lovely company from scratch. Inspiration comes reading things. I love to read the speeches of our Honorable President Dr. Abdul Kalam, very inspiring. I love to get inspired by Sadhguru's speeches. Of course, then on the corporate side, I would say that Anand Mahindra for his governance, those are inspiring things. Aziz Premji for his social contribution. So, I think inspiration is something that is from every single person whom you meet. There is something that you learn and something that you feel that there's something special about that.
Something you learn every day. Wow, that's a great point, right? I mean, you don't really need to read a book to get inspired. I think Raviji makes a great point. The 51st time I will watch Lion King, though I think thank you so much for letting me know that Mukesh Ambani loves watching movies as well. मैं अपने घर के टीवी का साइज थोड़ा बड़ा कर देता हूँ. Raviji, my last question. Besides about 160 odd people here in the audience, we are also being streamed live on a platform that our partners Showbiz have created. We had 1,600 registered participants. And I think about a few hundred definitely are watching us right now. Many of us, if not have executed our entrepreneur journeys, we are still thinking. And now that people are building businesses at the age of 50 plus and above, I just wanted you to share with us some of your thoughts around entrepreneurship and what would be some of your words of advice for us.
So, I don't think I can give any advice, but few thoughts that come to mind. One would be that I think not taking risk is the biggest risk.
Clap for that. Should we clap for that?
I think that today the entrepreneurs, the startup ecosystem, they are so well available to even a small college student who's come out tomorrow. I think they should choose their profession that they love to do. And as Steve Jobs said, that you won't have to work a single day after that. So choose the right profession. And another thing is I can say about convictions. Believe in your convictions, stand by them with your most honest scrutiny, but don't ever be afraid to let it go.
Wow.
When you see a different point of view.
When you see a different point of view, don't be afraid to let it go. Even if you're in the treasury room, by the way. Yeah? All right. Raviji, thanks a lot. I think we have roughly about 2 more minutes in hand. Any questions from the audience for Mr. Ravi Goenka? Vijay sir has a question. Can we give him a mic?
My question is, I think 2 or 3 years back, when the conference was there, Ravi sir was there, then he came and he patted me. Vijay, you are doing an outstanding job. Till then I was thinking, what outstanding job I am doing in the organizing conference. I am building my brand. I have some passion of conducting the conference. But he really meant that. You are not asked about his passion for education and all. They are also education institution. So he also not shared. I would like to hear about your passion about education.
So we actually, education is what a need of the country is. In a city like Bombay, we initiated a school project in 2004, which was a different format. It was a full IB school. They call Mondial World School. And that has been very well accepted. And it gives you a lot of satisfaction when you hear a young kid who is in the first standard or KG standard coming up and actually telling you that why is the school closed on Saturday? So I think schooling, education is a need you need different kind of educations in different areas. We run a school in Kolhapur. I'm a trustee on the NES, the New Education Society, where we have more than 3,000 children. And I think it's very satisfying to know that you are contributing in a very small manner to create tomorrow's India.
Why did I not ask that question? But yes, thank you so much, Bijur, for bringing that up. I think पढ़ेगा इंडिया तो बढ़ेगा इंडिया. Of late Twitter पे कुछ और चल रहा है. पढ़ेगा इंडिया तो बढ़ेगा अमेरिका. Anybody else in the audience who would like to ask Mr. Goenka a question? Can I have one of his very old friends?
No, here there is a question.
Question from you
on
as well.
the
Sir, I'll come to you in a moment.
On the SEG concept, globally it's catching up. As a company in chemicals, what are your views on that?
So today, ESG is a buzzword in every boardroom. And not just in every boardroom, it is internalized with most companies who have a good governance. And I guess that our generation, today we realize the mistakes that we have made and the problems that we have created. We are in a climate emergency situation, right? And it is our duty to now at least definitely not let it go the same graph. Stop it and then try to reduce it. So ESG is just not a buzzword, it is reality. 10 years, 15 years back, we all used to think of environment as a cost center. But today it is a profit center. The largest companies with the largest carbon footprints have the largest opportunities to create value and profits. Today, money is definitely affordable for these kind of new innovations to come in. I think our country is very rightly poised to come up with out-of-the-box solutions for creating these kind of circularity, for creating solutions that will actually make this planet much more better to live and our generations to thank us for that. I think this is our opportunity to do what we needed to do.
A better planet to live, ladies and gentlemen. Sandeep ji, I'm really sorry. I was just told that it had to be the last question. So maybe what you and I can do is catch him for a coffee again and have that question one-on-one with him. Ravi ji, thank you so much. My personal pleasure and on behalf of Almus, really pleasure to have you on stage here.
Thank you very much, Vijay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Ravi ji, just last one word from my side, and this is to all of you. As Vijay initially mentioned about, ideating something different format in the conference. And when we approached him, he was more than willing, despite all his discomforts, to be here amongst us. And I'm sure this last 20 minutes, sir, you have inspired people. So I would, big round of applause for Ravi ji.
Thank you very much.
For us, it's a great thing, and Ravi ji is more than a client. He is our well-wisher, and he has been a mentor as well for us. Thank you so much.
You,
and one more round of applause for our dear friend, Vijay. You deserve a big credit for managing not just the 20 minutes, but managing Ravi ji as well. So Vijay has been the head of strategic alliance and the marketing, group marketing at Dvara. And Dvara, most of you may or may not have heard. After this session, do click on Dvara. Dvara is one of the company which has about 8 portfolio companies, and they are serving millions of low-income households and creating financial inclusions. So that's Dvara. Thank you so much, Vijay. Thank you so much, sir.